Not much to say. They flat out kicked our behind. The one thing I do say, I feel sorry for the fans that spent their money coming and watch the game today. For us to perform that way and the lack of fight to whether it's get back in the game, stay in the game, however you want to call it, was non-existent. And it's going to be tough scoring when you have Keegan, Fox, and Malik go a combined 5 for 29. It's going to be a tough night. So give New Orleans a lot of credit. They came in here and they just flat out kicked our ass and did it for 4 quarters. And at the end of the day, like I said, you give them all credit. And I'm sorry, Sacramento fans, for coming and spending your money today.
Mike, this is certainly not the first time this season that a team just seems to come in with a lot of confidence, especially shooting the basketball against you guys. I'm not going to ask you to speak for them necessarily, but just in your time in the NBA with whatever teams you've worked for, were there certain matchups or certain teams that you'd come into a game against where players knew, okay, we're going to have a lot of opportunity, and that gave them a lot of confidence?
Yeah, but the thing that I haven't experienced yet is just when teams have it gone, just the lack of physicality and grit and fight back that you want to see in situations like this. I've never experienced going through it this many times, and that's what's bothersome, because you're going to lose, and for sure there have been teams that you've had matchup problems with. And whether I've gone 0-4 against teams throughout the course of the year, or I've been part of a 1-3, 4-game stretch against teams. And but the fight that was non-existent today, and that has been there on a few, or that hadn't been there on a few occasions. That's the tough part. And, again, I don't hear all the chatter, but, I don't see it in guys' eyes, and I don't hear it, you hear the chatter. If we're not playing well offensively, you hear that chatter, But the diving on the ground for loose balls, freaking just taking a charge, going vertical, hitting somebody, I don't really necessarily feel that in situations, and that is bothersome. But you got to give New Orleans a lot of credit for doing what they did too.
Mike, is Fox feeling okay? This is the 3rd straight game where he struggled shooting, and just yesterday or 2 days ago when he was walking out of here, it just looked like he was just not in pain but struggling and looking a little tired.
Yeah, from my understanding, he is, but that may be a question that you ask him. But everything seems okay from me with him. You know what I'm saying? It seems like he's okay. I haven't heard anything.
Mike, you're here to take the bullet here for your team, but at some point, this is multiple games where your leadership council is nowhere to be seen at the podium. And I'm just wondering if that's part of this too. 10 losses this season are blowouts. You guys are sure your record's great, but there seems to be a lack of accountability in these types of games where we're not even getting to see some of these guys that don't show up in the box score, that don't show up on paper.
Yeah, I don't, James. I hope this doesn't feel like a cop out, but I don't know. I never have known who comes to the podium and who doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So, that would be more Shannon would have to answer. Not one time in my career did I ever follow that or track that, But everybody should face the music because, we're all a part of this. And we all have to speak on it. We all have to address it. And we all have to look at Nye and see if we can be better. And it does. It starts with Fox and Domas. At the end of the day, those two guys, they have to be accountable. They have to hold everybody else accountable, just like for me. I do too. I'm part of this ass kicking today. And it is what it is, and we got to keep trying to find ways to be better. But the only way to do it, it's not an X and O thing. I mean, when you get beat like that, that has nothing to do with X's and O's. We can go out with no game plan, and you could take any 10 guys and play harder and fight better than what we did today, and that's what's disappointing, like I said, from top to bottom, starting with me on down. So in terms of who comes to the podium or not, I'm not trying to bail out on that one, but I've never known who was supposed to come here.
Like, not to belabor the point a little bit, but like seeing this team 4 times already in those 3 matchups, do you think some of that came with them, previous games came with them into this game? Like, did it feel like there was a let up once they really kind of got going?
I don't. It's a good question. I don't know because the let up seemed to happen right away. So I don't know, Sean. Their length, their physicality, it bothers all of us, and defensively, we're so locked up on our own guy that there's zero resistance. We expect this guy to guard his man. And how many times did they get to the rim and finish without the weak side coming across? How many times did we get to the rim and lay it up cleanly? How many times did Domas roll and there's a body there? You know what I'm saying? And then how many times did not only when the ball hit the paint, but we sprayed it, did they frickin' just fly and contest and get back into play and contest from behind? I mean, again, we have a lot of areas that we can improve, and the shots aren't going to always go in for us. But if we think that we should just be an offensive team, and there is some of that thought amongst us, is we should just try to outscore people. You're going to be in for a rude awakening in this league if you don't find a way to defend and take that end of the floor serious, because you're not going to outscore everybody. The shots aren't going to go in. I mean, we had some pretty good looks from the three-point line at times, and they didn't go in. And that's the game. So you got to have some fight on the defensive end, and there has to be a focus there for you in order to be able to win a game 104-98 or 103-106, something like that. And today we didn't do any type of job whatsoever on the defense end of the floor.
Yeah, Coach, not to gloss over the first 3 quarters, but we saw Keon win minutes in Houston in closing time. Is there anybody that stood out to you with decent production in that final quarter?
Yeah, I thought it's good to see Kev get a little rhythm. I thought he was really good. I thought Kessler was really good. I thought Keon was good, and even Kobe was good, being thrown into an NBA game and getting some extended minutes for the first time in a while. So, and Lynn was solid too. But the last group that we ended the game with, I mean, they tried. They cut, they moved, they kept the game simple with their passes. They tried to defend and help one another, but they were really, really good, and that was encouraging to see, because there have been times when we've gotten blown out. We throw guys out there, and those guys just go through the motions. But I thought the group that ended the game, they were really good on both ends of the floor, especially offensively. I just thought that the way they played was the right way, and it was simple.
Mike, follow up to my earlier question. You were mentioning just not seeing the fight, especially at times tonight. You've also mentioned before about, like, when you're in the games, when you reach to game time, it's, hey, I just got to support the guys. It's not the time or place necessarily to start yelling or doing anything like that. I'm just curious, and maybe a dumb question, like, when you're not seeing that fight, how much is it on you and the coaching staff, I guess, to get more, try and fire that up or get that involved? And how much of that are you trying to give to the leadership committee and the group, the players, to actually change that?
It's on me. It starts with me. I'll be the first one to say, I know I got to do a better job. But I also firmly believe in order to take that next step, there's got to be a time and place when the guys within that team hold each other accountable. And I've never been around what I feel are great situations, great coaches, great teams, where the coach is just constantly yelling. That crap gets old after a while. The teams that I've been a part of that are great, that have been great, it comes a point in time where it comes from within, and everybody can feel it, and everybody knows and expects who's going to step up and who's going to get it done on the floor and in the huddles, as opposed to everybody just kind of being flatline with it. And so, yeah, I'll take the blame, because obviously I have to do more, with this team. But hopefully, sooner than later, we'll be able to get a lot of that from within, because those are the great teams, in my opinion, especially the ones that I've been with.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.